This is a grit talk. My name is Andrew Cottone, and I'm here to answer 7 questions. First, I think the message of what I want to get through is how proud I am to be in Delaware, and working with the champ on Donate Delaware really captures that mission and vision. Secondly, I had a nightmare that it would just be Bill and Jen in the audience, so really, really grateful. First question is, what have you not done yet that you would like to be part of your story or included in my eulogy? When we get to my eulogy, and hopefully there's a little bit of time between then and now, Sinatra comes to mind. Regrets, I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. So to be able to achieve that, I thought to myself, I want to circumnavigate the globe. I want to be like Magellan. So I went out and got a book about Magellan and read this, and I said, this is what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go around the earth. And then as I was reading the book, it turned out Magellan is actually a bad dude. So didn't want to necessarily be like Magellan. And then he died 3/4 through his voyage. Never made it. So I turned into that. I just want to circumnavigate the globe. And when I was a boy, both of my grandfathers were in the Navy. And they told stories about what they saw. My maternal grandfather, especially, he was also a merchant marine, and he brought back silks and swords from Asia and the Mideast. It was fascinating to this little Italian-American kid growing up in Philly. Like, what did you see? And then he told stories of the South Pacific. And the blue, he couldn't describe what the blues were, and the colors and the people and the cultures that he experienced. That's something that I want to go for. I want to be able to just travel around and see a perspective, see a vision from a different arena. So circumnavigating the globe will be something in there. And I think that kind of plays a role in Adesis too, where even though we're just less than 200 people, we have employees from over 40 nations. And then I think the second thing I want to do in the spirit of giving back to Delaware is help be a change agent, an advisor, and champion hydrogen power for Delaware. The hydrogen economy is coming. What fascinated me is a fundamental law of nature with hydrogen is that it burns with 3 times the energy of carbon-based fuels. Oh, and by the way, it burns clean, but 3 times the power. And as I was looking at Delaware, about the resources that we have, we're the lowest lying state in the nation. We have all the water we need. We have access to ports, access to roads and infrastructure. And of the 7 hubs awarded by President Biden in the IRA Act, only 2 have a pipeline. It's Houston, of course, and the Mid-Atlantic Clean Hydrogen Hub. So when you look at the barriers to getting hydrogen to where it needs to go, distribution is one, and we have a pipeline. Delaware is centrally at the center, the capital of Earth, between Washington, D.C. and New York City. We're near our potential end markets for hydrogen. This is a great opportunity for Delaware to be able to champion the new hydrogen economy. And hopefully my role in this ecosystem some way, somehow, will be to make Delaware the hydrogen Houston of the 21st and 22nd century. So, 1 second. How has failure or apparent failure set me up for later success? And do I have a favorite failure? When I met Bill, I told him I have an obnoxious answer to this question. I said, I don't fail, and I meant it, I don't fail. He said, oh, you learn. No, not really good at that part either. Because I like to make the same mistakes multiple times. But I don't fail. Failure to me is a conscious decision to stay down, to quit, to not keep going. And I might not learn that fast, but I'm certainly relentless. And when I see something that I want, that is a goal that's important to me or my family, I'm not staying down, so I don't fail. But if you don't, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're anywhere in your life, if you're not falling, you're not trying hard enough. So I'm accustomed to falling, and I think that's great to be able to get up. So I learned, I think the story to relate here is when we started Adesis. In 2003, I was running half of a small company in Newcastle, Delaware. And the other half of the company came up, they didn't quite say it like this, but I'll translate it. Hey, we want to steal your technology, and we want to steal your customers, and we're going to steal your contracts, and we're going to go down the street and start a new company. Andrew, come join us. Like, nah, that kind of seems wrong. I'm going to stay here. So they went and did that. And the owner of the company, Chuck Beard, said to me, I'm a little too old to rebuild this. You want to buy the company? So I went home to my wife, and I said, there's this great company. We just laid off half our staff. We're $1 million in debt. We have 3 weeks of money in the bank, and we have no contracts. Can I have all of our money? I have all of our money. And she, I can still see her at the top of the stairs with an infant, and my oldest was just put in bed. And she's like, absolutely. He looked at me with such confidence. I looked behind me, see who she was looking at. And I reminded her, we were in grad school together. I don't have any business classes. Like, yeah, you'll figure it out. I had fully expected to go in to talk to Chuck and say, listen, I want to join. My wife says it's not really responsible to do this, but I couldn't do that. So this is another reason why I love Delaware. Went to Wilmington Trust. I went to every bank in Delaware, and everybody threw me out, except Bill Major at Wilmington Trust. I don't know what Bill Major saw, but he said, I'll take all the money. I'll let you take all the money out of your house, Andrew. I see something here. I see something that you can do. So we went and started the company, and we were expected to fail. And we didn't. We just kept going. And then I think the culmination of where we moved to was, and this is another Delaware story, where Manny Forneris and his team helped us sell to Universal Display Corporation in 2016 for $36 million. And this was a validation of our scientific ideas. So I don't fail. I don't necessarily learn that fast, but I don't stay down. The next question is, in the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? All right, this is where I bore everybody. It's something called ISO 9001. It's a quality management system. So let me tell you what that meant to Adesis. When you put that structure in place, and then I'll talk about the system, when you put that structure in place, this little company could rise to the top of the strategic vendor list at major pharmaceutical company, and we're on the cusp of signing a $100 million contract. And that brings major jobs to Delaware. So hopefully now, $100 million, ISO 9001, that's how I see it. I like that. ISO 9001 simply says continuous improvement, operational discipline, database decision making. That will all lead to operational excellence and customer service. I tried to bring that operational excellence into my house and my home, and I asked my wife for database decision making, and it's not happening. But a quality management system that helps structures. I found that for a scientific company where there's a lot of PhDs around, having that structure really helps us. The second thing I did was, this is probably a little bit more, something that you can apply a lot easier. I use an Aura ring. I treat my body like a science experiment. And so it tells me before I'm feeling bad, so I know to get a little bit more rest. And a lot of data there. So I bring database decision making to my own life as well. What activities make me lose track of time? In increasing importance, first is invention. When we invent and we can see and touch something that no one else knows about, and then be able to share that, I get in the chemistry zone. It's a lot of fun. And you all touch our stuff every single day. If you pull out your phone, you take a look at I left my phones out there. I wanted to show you. But if you pull out your phone and you look at the colors in your phone, our parent company owns those colors, and we do the manufacturing to put that into your phone. So every time you look at your OLED device, your phone, wherever it is, that was made here in Delaware. If anybody wears contact lenses, go ahead and pull them out and show everybody. We make a very important material, an IP-sensitive material, and that all goes through our site in Delaware. And please keep these in your mouth, but if you have Invisalign, we work with that too. You touch Adesis every single day in some way or another, and those manufacturing jobs are in Delaware. Second thing, and this is what's really most important to me, is family. And time with my girls, and usually that centers around the Eagles, the Phillies, the Sixers, or the Flyers. It's a little bit tougher when I have to go root for NC State, where my oldest daughter goes to school, but what I learned is my girls like vacation dad. Because apparently normal dad is mean, but he raises, hopefully with my wife raises, and I'm there not to mess it up, but normal dad raises strong young women. Vacation dad would raise spoiled brats. But he only exists for 2 weeks of the year, so that's okay. But it's one of the favorite times of my life, whether it was at the NFC Championship game with all my girls, but there's a new persona that I discovered. He's called Super Bowl Dad. Super Bowl Dad would raise delinquents. And he is a lot of fun. And so those times with my girls are things that help me lose track of time. But most importantly, and hopefully I get some spaghetti and meatballs out of this, I lose track of time with my wife. We've been married almost 27 years now, probably should have been 28, because when we were in grad school together, I saw her that very first moment. My personality is, I sit in the back and I need to see everything. Center and sit in the, so I can see everything simply by turning my head. She has to be in the center, but she has to be seen. So I just see her hair going back and forth. And then I heard she was Italian, I heard she was from Boston, I knew exactly my angle. And she shot me down right away. A year later, we eloped, got married after 99 days. And since that time, I look at the support that I had, and I don't even know what we do. If we're walking the dog, or if we're going on a trip, or if we're just watching TV, time kind of stops, and it's a level of peace for me. So, invention, then a big jump to my daughters, and then finally my wife. And then, what book do I most often give or recommend, and how has that book influenced you? The answer to the question, honestly, chemistry process technology. It's a lot of fun, I love it. But so the number 2 book that I give is something called Conversational Capacity. And that's by Craig Weber. And I found that not only can that help me in business, it helped me at home too with having conversation. And what it is it's a learning-based model to listen and have conversation and be able to pull information and understand another person's point of view. I think if we would apply that a lot more widely, a lot, especially in politics per se, we might be able to reach a few more compromises. And I know in running a company, when I have to have a lot of different views, I want people around the table to share those views, and I need to be able to pull that information out of them, so that I can make the best decision for that company. So a funny story about this one, a little bit of an aside. So I was talking to my wife about this during a particularly tense presidential election. I was trying to argue one side, and she was trying to argue the wrong side. And the conversation just was, I said, listen, I got this book. And I gave her my original copy, where I always take notes and stuff. So all the bad habits, as I was reading, I was like, oh, that's Jen. That's Jen's father. So I came home from work, and I'm getting a look. I'm like, what did I? And I couldn't deny it. It was right there in writing. So we recovered. But Craig Weber, Conversational Capacity. What have you purchased or been given that's valued under $200 that's most positively impacted my life? Just because of a lot of because of a lot of different things that might be going on. So we were kids growing up in Philadelphia. And my legs were growing up to here, and I said, "Mom, Pop, I need a bike. Everybody else has a bike. I need a bike. I can't ride this little thing anymore." My dad said, "No problem." Oh my God, this is amazing. These guys don't buy anything. So after my brother and I picked up some aluminum cans so we can go recycle them, we went over to the junkyard, and Dad's always in the junkyard looking to fix something. He needed something. So he's picking up a bunch of stuff, and about a week later, he calls me down. "Got you the new bikes. I got you a new bike, Andrew." Oh my God, I'm going to get a blue Huffy. This is amazing. I had a Frankenbike. Had a Frankenbike. It's like banana seat. Like, how'd you get mismatched handlebars? Aren't they one piece? So I rode it around. I got teased worse than when I had the little tiny bike. Listen, Mom, Pop, can I get that blue Huffy? Oh, you want a blue bike? Yeah. So I go down the next Wednesday. I would deliver the weekly paper at the time. And I said, I went to go get my papers. My bike's all taken apart. It's painted blue. It's like, I think that's kind of the immigrant story. Damn it. That a father or mother does anything for their kids. So I think about my oldest daughter, more recently, my oldest daughter was in Spain. I'm really proud of her. We went over to visit her. She was studying over there, and we were at some fancy-ass resort. It was really, really nice. And I said, "Jen, I want to go out on a boat." And I think my wife and daughter are here. They're seasick right now, so they can't go with me. So I go out on a boat, and I see the Strait of Gibraltar. I want to see the Strait of Gibraltar. Less than 100 years ago, you talk about real entrepreneurs. My family left Palermo. My family left Naples. My family left Reggio Calabria. And like if I fail in my companies, I'll declare bankruptcy. We're going to be all right. I might have to sell a house. That's not risk. I wanted to see what they saw. Like I wanted to circumnavigate the globe. I want to see what they saw. What were they thinking? And I love this country. I love it. This is the greatest country in the world. Not that friendly to immigrants. And yet they made a conscious decision to go through that Strait of Gibraltar, come to a place where they had no money, they didn't speak the language, to make sacrifices for that next generation. What were they thinking when they saw the Strait of Gibraltar? Were they excited? Probably scared. They know that they would never see their parents again, their brothers and their sisters. That's courage. What we do as entrepreneurs, what we're doing here, that's not courage. They've risked everything. They had no net. So that boat ride, the ticket was probably around $200. That boat ride was really meaningful to me. And last question is, if I could broadcast a message to everyone in the world, knowing it would be received and remembered, what would it be? I don't know, it's kind of like with the whole family thing. I think if we all remember where we have come from, we might all be at different stages in that journey of that journey we're on. But if we remember that we all came from immigrants or from somewhere else where there was some hardship, we might be a little bit more patient and kind to one another. So my thought is just remember where you came from. And that's it. Thank you.